Another beautiful lady, she was from Toowoomba, Toowoomba, and she came over probably 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
She had a 1 in a million diagnosis of this particular cancer. Two children, 2 boys, and her youngest boy, Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And so she fought hard. She said, I just want to stay alive to make sure I can see my youngest boy, 14 at the time, into assisted living in Queensland. So, and she said, I want to see my oldest son get married. So one time she came over for treatment, went home, saw her son get married, which was wonderful, and then came back and she had so much that, setting up, carers and all sorts of things for her younger son. And sadly, she passed in March last year, and I was really quite taken with that one, because I thought she really wanted to get to December, because that's when her son was 18. And I remember the next day I was really flat, and I was going to the chiropractor, and I got in my car at home, drove to the chiropractor, had my treatment, came out, got in the car, and I looked at the dashboard, and there was this little ladybug on the dashboard, and I was like, is that you, Jen? And it came to me, and it occurred to me straight away that she had actually put everything in place. Although she may not have physically seen him go into the assisted living, she had everything in place that she needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was wonderful. I guess moving forward to somebody more recently, at the end of last year, in fact it was in September, I had a phone call from a lady to tell me that her husband, they'd just come out of the doctors, and her husband had been given 1 week to live.
Mm-hmm.
And they were from Bathurst in New South Wales, and they had made the decision to come to Perth to have the treatment here, to just give them a bit of extra time. So they came over, and we had a few volunteers and cars, and then some of their family came over. So both cars were out, Brian and Gazza at the markets with them. We were taking them out, showing them around. And after he'd had a bit of treatment, he was really unwell in the beginning, but after a bit of treatment, I rang them up and I said to them, I'm just checking if you're up for maybe going out for dinner, because I hadn't seen them for a while. And they said, yeah, we'd love to. So I took them out to dinner to a little place that I knew didn't have too many people around, rather quiet. And they were due to go home on the Sunday. And I said to them, well, all I can say is you two must be a bit popular with all the volunteers. And I said, because I put a shout out to see who wanted to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to come and pick this couple up to take them back to the airport for their flight home. And I said, 3 volunteers put their hand up. And I said, so I have to disappoint at least one, because 5 of them wouldn't fit in our little car with luggage. And the wife said to me, I think we could do that. She said, Art's only got like a small bag, and he's got, I've got my bag, and he's got his ukulele. And I said to him, a ukulele? And I said, do you play? And he said, well, I actually play guitar, he said, back home, but I didn't bring any. So he said, I thought I'd get one and just sort of do a little bit. And so I said to him, I said, do you do like jam sessions? Me knowing music. And he said, yeah, we do an open mic. And I said, okay, like I knew what that meant. And I said, one of my other dreams, I said, I'd just love to have a song or something that kind of just reflected who we are and what we do at Blue Dot Army. He goes, oh, really? He said, give me an idea of what you want to do. And I said, and his wife said to me, I'll play you a song that he wrote for us when we got married. So I said, okay. So driving them back to their hotel, and Rachel puts the music on, and I'm listening, and I was like, wow. And I looked at Arthur and I said, that's good. And he's like, oh, thanks. So anyway, we're driving along a bit further, and then I said to him, is that you singing? He goes, yeah. And I went, you're like really good. And he goes, oh, thanks very much.